This conference will now be recorded.
During the VC test, he's like, "You're my friend." I'm like, "I know." And he's like, "Where should I go? Get shat on for a spoon when I want a fork."
Correct.
Okay. I was like, the most is. He's like, I was like, the most anyone has ever done for me. And he's like, and the most we'll ever do. I was like, yeah, what to do? You set the bar way too high. But bro, he's my height.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome for the session, today's session. So today we are discussing about Tally features, Tally help, configurations. So yesterday we were discussing about the vertical button bar and what are the configurations, how the features can be used, how to print a report, how to export, how to send an email. All these we have seen. Okay, so today, before I start the session, I would just like to make a small revision, probably of the currencies which we would have created. Yes, so we had learned how to create the currencies in Tally, that is dollars, pounds, euros, yen, and all that. So I would just like to revise which is the ASCII code applicable for the creation of each of the currencies. Okay, so let's begin. So first we had learned to create the euro currency. So it is Alt plus 0128. So this is the ASCII code. So I'll put it on top. This is the ASCII code so that you can just go through it. And this is the currency creation. So this is used for creating euros. Okay, and then next we have for pounds. So for pounds we use the ASCII code. Then we have for Alt 157. Yen. This is for dollar. And the last one for our Indian rupee. Okay. So we have euros, pounds, yen, dollar, and for the INR. So I've given the ASCII code again so that you can just brief up. So what are the ASCII codes or ASCII values for the creation of these currencies in time? And the rest as I've already explained to you. Okay, so this is the ASCII codes or the values for the creation of various currencies in the Tally software. So now we will continue with the F12, this F11, F1 discussion in the Tally software. So please log into your companies. Yes. So we're discussing about the F1, its help option. And over here we have Tally help, Tally new, what's new, any kind of an upgradation you want. Now, right now we'll give you the version of TallyPrime Release 2, which I'd shown you also in the previous session. And then we have Tally Shop. This also has been told that in case we want any features to be upgraded, add-ons what we say, that can also be done with the Tally Shop. Yes. So here we have the inventory management. Suppose with regard to invoicing and vouchers, we want certain add-ons. Okay, we have 108 add-on features. Can you see here? Okay, so vendor's item code and purchase order. So what is the description? Countries, all countries, and what editions. So for suppose if I'm going for a licensed software, we have silver, gold, and all that. Now, which version it can support? Okay, all these things, including the price, it has been given. Okay, so if you can observe here, yes. So if you go for a new license, of course, what is the price? I mean, for the gold edition and for the silver edition, if you're a new license holder, or if you're going for a subscription or for a cross upgrade. So everything will be given up here, I can say. Yes, so can you make out here? Now here we have Tally Shop. Of course, we have the concept of troubleshooting in case if any repairs or any kinds of errors have taken place, we can go for the troubleshooting options. Okay, that can be done where we can reset even the e-waybill logins. Suppose there are any issues in logging in for the e-waybills, or in case if we have to go for the migration of company data, let's say from the ERP9 to of course Prime, we can go in for it. Next, we have the settings option. Now, settings, of course, we have the license, language, country, startup, display, connectivity. So, if you go for this, in case if you're a license holder of the Tally software, we have managed license here. Can you see? It is showing as application status as education mode because we are using a trial version or the education version of the Tally software. Hence, it is telling that it is a education mode and it's unable to access the Tally server because, of course, we are not using a licensed version. Now, suppose if I am a licensed user, I can activate my license, reactivate my existing license, or sorry, use license from the network also. Got it? So if I have to manage my account also, the same way, how can I manage my portal? So all these things can be had. Now after this, we also have in the F1 help option, in settings we have language. Okay, so we have two kinds of language. One we have is this display language. Second we have is the data entry language. So what is this display language if we see? Basically we have the English, yes. So English is the communication language in the Tally software. Now if we go back to the data entry language, can you see? So Tally is also a multilingual software. Yes. So in case you want to enter data, okay, in your own probably the mother tongue or the language which you find comfortable to understand and pass the entries, we can go for it. So we have Indian languages as Bengali, English. English, of course, is the official language. So apart from English, we have Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Marathi, Punjabi, Tamil, and Telugu. So here he can choose the language through which he can also pass the entry. But by default, the data entry language will always be English. Okay. So this is how we can check. How did we do so? We went to the settings, we went to the language options, and here we have the display language and the data entry language. Now next, if we go to the settings again, and we have the country. Yes, so the default country for all the new companies. So whenever we have created a new company in the Tally software, one thing you would have observed by default it will give it as India only. Suppose if any changes are there, you can also change the country from India to any other country. Because in case of the the accounting principles are the same in certain countries overseas, they also use it as So in such case also you can change the country's name. So there is no issue regarding that. So next we have the startup option. If you want to load companies on the startup, if it is yes, so which companies to load in case if you're starting up the Tally software. So that can also be done up here. And what is the cat size, the auto login for the companies. In case you want an auto login for the same, now example, you have like more than one company which is being created and it has the same credentials, same information. So instead of having a separate, okay, for each of the companies, you can go for a common login. So here if you give it as yes, it will take up. Okay. So like auto login means yes, so it can take up with the same login. Materials and add-ons, of course, in case if you want to go for any configurations or any add-on features, everything will be applicable here in the TDLs and add-ons. And about of which I've shown the first, the initial classes itself. Yes. So what is this about option? It gives you the complete product information about the Tally software. Yes, the educational mode what we are using, and so where the data information is stored, and the LAN network. Now, which is the client or the server? Of course, we have the open database connectivity, and of course, which is the Tally, which is the operating system we are using, that is Windows 10, and what is the hard drive memory. And I've also shown you what is the RAM size required, right? It is 4 GB or more, okay, for the installation for Tally software. So here you can get the complete solution. And at the bottom also you can see that the company which supplies the Tally software is Tally Solutions Private Limited, and the year of establishment is 1986, but was renamed in the year 1988 as Tally. So henceforth you have the same year available, applicable there. Okay. So like this, we go in for n number of features. So we have covered the vertical button bar and the horizontal button bar where we have the configuration details, company features details. Now if I want to view the company features instantly, I will press F11. So F11 will give me the complete company features. Okay, we have the accounting features, we have the inventory features, we have is the statutory and taxation, payroll, others. All these features can be activated. In case if you want some additional details, you can go for Control I. Okay. So we have show inactive. So all the details will be applicable. If you want to update the PAN details of the company, PAN or the income tax number, and the corporate identity number, both can be updated with the company instantly when you're going for the company features itself. Suppose if I want to update the GST details, I can do so. Okay, so instead of going for roundabout, pressing enter and coming to the GST, also I can go for Control I, more details, where I can instantly update the GST details. Okay, so this is how it goes about in the Tally software. And where can we see the statistical report? I think directly, not the other way. So there you can view how many vouchers are already existing, right? So suppose if I'm creating a new company, before creating or before passing any entries or before creating any masters, okay, how can I check up? We have to check up what is the default creations of the Tally software. So if you go to the altar, we have all the defaults. So which is the key or which is the function key or the option where we can view the default creations in Tally? It is the altar. In the master alteration screen, we can view all the default creations in the Tally software. How many groups we have, how many ledgers we have, everything. The best way is we can go for chart of accounts. Okay. So the chart of accounts will give you a complete list, including the number at the bottom it can be given. Because when I showed you in our company which was created, we also had our own creations, right? So leaving whatever we have created, if you want to check out only the default creations, it can be done. 28 groups. So how many default ledgers are appearing? We have two ledgers. One is cash and which is the other one? It is profit and loss account. And we have voucher types. As I've told you, we have 24 voucher types in Tally software. Yes. So we have 24 voucher type. If you can see at the bottom, this is the number we are having. 24 voucher types in the Tally software. Then cost category, we have a default. So this is the best way of keeping an eye on the default creations in Tally. Open a new company, just give the name and just close. Okay, so fine. So just venture into by going to master alteration, that's the alter option. And there, beginning from the default groups, you can view the ledgers, cost categories, voucher types, so on and so forth. Does of course you don't have, you only have cost category, and the name also has been given as primary cost category. And then of course currencies, the default currency is one, that is Indian currency. And talking about the budgets, in case if you're going for any budgeting, list of budgets will be there. In case if any scenario like the budget base we are creating it, it will be available here. And do we have default stock groups? No. We have accounting groups, but we don't have stock groups. And what about the stock items? Again, we have a zero stock item. Coming to stock categories also it is zero. Units of measure, again, we have to create our own units of measure. Now, when I'm coming to the units of measure, okay, if it would be good if you make an answer for this. Now, we have been so long, so far in the Tally software, yes. Now, I would like to ask you a simple question. Now, which are the two units of measure we have created so far? One of you could answer. Now we have created kgs, liters, grams, and all that. Yes. So which are the two kinds or two types of units of measure that can be created in the Tally software? If you're able to list out even one single one, also it's fine. But at least make an effort to think and answer like which are the types of units of measure which Tally allows you to create.
Ma'am, is it simple unit or compound unit?
Yes, Shraddha, it is simple and compound units of measure. Very good. Now, I have the second question. You have given the right answer. Now, we have created both, that is simple unit and compound units of measure. Now, you have created both, you have seen both. Now, again, I'll ask a simple question. Can I create compound units of measure without creating simple units of measure? Would it be possible?
No, ma'am.
Very good, Sophia. We cannot create compound units without being simple. We can't go for a compound units of function. So all these things have to be done. Suppose if I don't give the units of measure only when I'm creating the stock, I ignore that units of measure. I don't give kgs, liters. Now, will it allow me to pass a purchase voucher, or will it allow me to give the opening balance quantity if I don't give the units of measure? Would Tally permit me? All these observations you should make. I don't give the units. I just skip. I give the stock category, stock group when I'm creating the stock item, and I don't give the units of measure. What can happen? Have you made that observation, or any of you have experienced it? Now I go and create a stock item. Let's say I create uh, Dell laptops. Okay. So I give as computers, electronic devices, all fine. But here I skip the units. I'm not giving the units. GHC not. But can you see what's happening? I don't give the units of measure, not applicable. I want to give the opening balance quantity for Dell laptops because I'm already having some stock. Let's say around I'm having 5 pieces of Dell laptops. What's happening here? Is it going to the quantity here? No, it is directly going to the value. Can you see? It is directly going to the value. It is not going to the quantity. Which means Tally communicates you one information. If you don't give the unit of measure, how can you quantify your opening stock of purchases or sales, closing stock of purchases or sales like of any of the years, or already existing opening stock or already existing closing stock, or in case you want to make any purchase or sales, how can you quantify? I cannot just say Dell laptops. I should quantify how many numbers, how many pieces, yes? Suppose if I give not applicable, instead of that, I give numbers. Yes. So now it will take me to the quantity aspect. Yes, if you can observe. That time it did not allow me to give the quantity. It directly jumped to the value, but now it will go back to the quantity side itself. Can you make out? All these acute observations have to be made in the Tally software. If I skip units of measure, what could happen? Okay, so like this, yes. And most important, what is the beauty of this F12 configuration? F12 configuration is not limited to only for vouchers or any masters. It is applicable for everything in the Tally software. Now, if I go to the create option, I select group, I get a configuration there, F12. Yes. So show all configurations. Yes. So concerning the group creation, okay, if I want to activate any features or if I want to deactivate some features, I can do so with this configuration. So configuration I can say is the updation or addition or deletion of features concerning the current screen which the user is there in the Tally software. I am in the group creation, I am in the voucher creation, I am in the report, viewing of the reports. Wherever I go, I have this F12 configuration option always in the vertical button bar. Yes. Now if I go and check the reports also, let's say I go to the balance sheet here. Yes, so here I have F12 configuration. Can you see here? Now show percentage if I want, yes. Exclude accounts with zero balance, yes. I want a detailed report. Can you see concerning that particular statement or the report, we can set up the configurations. Show vertical balance sheet, no I don't. Show, now how do you want to see? Assets or liabilities? Or liabilities or assets. We normally have this liabilities and assets only. Then name, show base currency, yes. Can you see? It gives you a complete detail. So like this, we can also alter any column. To add any column, we can also press Alt C if we want to, and we can go also for the valuation methods. It's not that relevant, but we can do so. Okay, so like this F12 configuration, I can say, is a feature updation with regard to any of the masters, vouchers, and reports which we are currently handling in Tally. So, okay, so please make sure, okay, whatever entries you have made, just try to check what are the F12 configurations available for each of the reports, masters, transactions, or uh, ledgers. Now, let me please do mute yourself. I think one of you has unmuted. Please do mute yourself. Yes. Now here, this is how we can make up the entries. Now, we have discussed about the GST, right? That's goods and services tax. We have one more tax, that is TDS also. Yes. So what does TDS stands for? What is the abbreviation of TDS? Can anyone
Tax
tell me?
deduction.
Tax deducted at source.
Yes, it is tax deducted at source. Now, we have two types of taxes which I've discussed when I was discussing GST. We have direct taxes and we have also have the indirect taxes. Now, if I go for TDS, now TDS is which type of tax? Is it direct or indirect? Come on, think. TDS is a direct or an indirect tax? Of tax TDS can be.
Direct.
Yes. Now, what is the difference between income tax and TDS? Let me know. Is it the same or is it different? Now I got two right answers. One, TDS is tax deducted as. Second, I have, of course, TDS is a direct tax. Yes, very good. But the third, I want the answer. What is the difference between income tax and TDS? Are both same or they are different?
Ma'am, income tax is based on the incomes we earn. If we earn more than 1 lakh, we'll have to pay tax.
What about for TDS, pa?
Uh, tax which is deducted for each and every item, for each and every assets.
Hmm. Good, good. See, whether you give the, I mean, I want your response, that's all. Later, what corrections have to be made, how your answers have to be molded, that job I'll do it. But I want you to come out and talk so that I can know that what is the knowledge, content you have of the TDS. There's nothing wrong. So good. You made an attempt at least to speak out of TDS. Now, TDS and income tax. Why this question is, I find very interesting answers for this. TDS is different, income tax is different. No, it's one and the same. Yes, so TDS or income tax both are same. Yes, but why do we call it as a TDS, tax deducted at the source? Before that, I would like to make one clarification that when it comes to TDS, okay, that is tax deducted at the source, why it as deducted at the source? What does it signify basically? It is nothing but before I go for any kinds of payments, any kinds of discussions with regard to TDS, one thing I'll make it clear that If we talk about the income tax on salaries, yes, yeah. Now we have the slabs actually. Up to 2.5, up to 2 lakh 50, there is no tax. Above 2 lakh 50, of course, it starts. You have 10%, 20. We also have up to like 30 and more than that. So depending upon the slab, income tax, I mean income slabs, we have the tax rate applicable against it. Okay, so you have to always have a view of the tax slab. So what is the current income tax slab we have? Yes. Now, if a person earns up to 2,50,000, up to in the sense what? Up to 2,50,000. 2,50,000, one also if he earns, he's subject to pay the tax. But if it is up to 2,50,000 annually, he need not pay the income tax. He's exempted from that. But in case if he crosses 2,50,000 and above, then he's subject to tax. Okay, he pay the income tax. Now, all of you would have been very much around, probably like if when your parents are earning, they're getting monthly salaries. Now, in case if they go for where their income is subject to tax. They are annually they're getting more than 2.5 lakhs. Now what happens is before the salary is payable means before the salary is credited to your parents' account, the tax will be deducted, and then the net amount is credited or transferred to your parents, which means to the employee's account. Once it is credited or deposited, tax cannot be deducted. That's why it is told as tax deducted at the source, which means what? At the time of generation and before paying the employee, the tax would be deducted. Okay, so nothing but TDS, tax deducted at the source. So when we talk about on salaries, of course, we define them as income tax. Yes, we have to file the IT returns. Of course, now we have, yeah, now complete the IT return month only, all this like July, July, August, September. It's a complete that, IT atmosphere, I can say. So in addition to the salaries where the TDS, okay, applicable, we also have TDS on the other transactions, on the other entries as well. Yes, we do have it. Okay, so the categories are variant. Now here I have the TDS rates, probably which I can show you, or probably I can give you the list also. In addition to the salaries, also we have on the. Can you make out here? This is the recent tax rate which we are seeing. If you can observe on the right hand side at the top, it is there for the assessment year 22 and 23. Now we are in the financial year of what? 2021 and 22, and our assessment year is 2022 and 23. So the year in which we earn our income. Okay, and that's the financial year, yes, the current year which you are earning your income. Now, when are the returns filed? Okay, so the returns are filed for the previous year. Now as of now, we are in 21 and 22. Now we file the returns for 20 and 21. Yes, so we have the concept of previous year and we also have concept of the assessment year. So the income earned in the previous year, okay, if it is taxable, and for the same, we have to file the returns in the assessment year. So it goes on. So we have the assessment year 2022 and 23 as of now. Now, if you observe here, can you see? This is the TDS rates applicable. Recently, I can say we have 10%. We also have the section applicable for payment of salary. What is the section here? 192A. 192 also we have. 192A we have. Then we have TDS or interest on securities. Yes, we have certain marketable securities or debentures right of the central or the state governments. Any bonds, most important. On that also tax is applicable. Then we have TDS, income by way of dividends, by way of interest other than securities, income by way of winnings from lotteries, crossword puzzles, card games, and other games of any sort. We have 30% as a tax rate. Yes, now lottery tickets are almost banned, but in case, because in India, of course, lottery tickets are banned. In case if there is a generation of lottery tickets in any of the states, it is flat rate is 30%. Next, income by way of winnings from horse races. Yes, turf clubs. Yes, so we have the turf club. So there, in case if any income is won, okay, any gain by winning races, again flat rate of TDS we have 30%. In case if there's any contractor's job, contractor does not mean only the construction. Of course, there are n number of contract-based jobs. So for that, of course, we have for HUF for individuals it is 1% TDS. For others, it is 2%. For insurance commission, we have 5% TDS. So, what you can make out from this, not only on salary TDS is applicable, but TDS is applicable on all these other transactions as well. Yes, this clarity you should have. Now, payment in respect of deposit. Suppose if I'm making a deposit under the NSS scheme, the National Savings Scheme, again 10% tax rate. Mutual funds, we have 20% tax rate. Now, in case of commission on sale of lottery tickets, 5%. Most important, if we have a commission or a brokerage, okay, uh, based services, so 5%. Suppose rent has to be paid on any plant and machinery, okay, we have as 2%. Land and building or furniture or fittings, rent for the same, it is 10%. Suppose if any commercial space is given, very, a lively example I can say, we see everywhere, right? Commercial space available for rent. Now all you see this commercial complexes. So we have a threshold limit. Now how for salaries we have up to 2.5 lakh there is no tax. If you exceed 2.5 lakh we have tax applicable. In the same way, other than salaries, for the rest of the transactions, there is a threshold limit. Yes, we do carry a threshold limit. Just a second. Yes. So here we have threshold limits applicable for all this. That also I will be showing you. Now, payment on transfer. Suppose any immovable property, there is a transfer involved. Other than agricultural land, again there is a specification here. Can you see? Agricultural income, agricultural land, they have their own exemptions. This one of them we have discussed even in the GST segment, where if our company provides agricultural services, how is it taxable? What classification do we go for? It is sales exempt. Yes. So, and I also told that not all the agricultural based services are exempt. A few of them will be taxable. Next, the next one, if you see, we have payment of rent by individual HUF, not liable to the tax audit. Of course, 5%. Monetary considerations under JDA. There is joint development agreements, we have 10%. Yes, this is very, very important. Suppose if there are professionals, fees for professional or technical services. So what TDS is applicable? It is 2%. Okay. For the others, of course, we have is 10%. Now, income in respect of units payable to a resident person, 10%. In case of compensation have to be paid on acquisition of such immoved properties, again we have 10%. So like this we have all the entries which are subject to the TDS. Okay. Yes, so here also we have most important cash withdrawal during the previous year from one or more account maintained by a person with a banking company, cooperative society engaged in the business of banking or a post office in excess of 1 crore. Suppose there is a withdrawal of more than 1 crore, okay, or in excess of 20 lakhs, again there also TDS it will be levied, it will be subject. For those persons who have not filed ITR for 3 previous years, immediately preceding the previous year in which cash is withdrawn, and the due date of filing also has been expired, then what kind of TDS? 2% from the amount withdrawn in cash if the aggregate of the amount of withdrawal exceeds 20 lakhs, or 5% in case of 1 crore. Okay. Next, if we go for e-commerce operator, very, very important. Which are all the e-commerce websites? We have Snapdeal, Flipkart, Amazon, Meeshoes, yes. So payment of amount or credit of amount by the e-commerce operator to the e-commerce participant, there also 1% TDS is applicable. Next we have this deduction of tax by specified bank in case of senior citizens age 75 or more, tax on total income as per the rate in force. It will be there. Now next is in case of payment to residents for purchase of those more than 50 lakhs, 1% TDS. Can you observe here? Payment of salary, it is normal rate is again 10%. There also it had been given again here, where for what case where the person is not a resident in India, but still we have 10% TDS. This is for non-residents, and here we go for the residents. So all of you would have the knowledge of the residential statuses, right? We have ordinary resident, not ordinary. First we start with the resident, then we have ordinary, not ordinary residents, and we have non-residents. So first we spoke about the residents, next we have the non-residents. Yes, so as amended by the Finance Act 2021. So there's a recent rate list we have got. Yes, very, very important for us. Now, one thing of course we need to know in the TDS. Okay, so ASCII code of course I would have made the discussion here. Now, we have a concept of PAN, yeah? So what does PAN stands for? Permanent account number. Now we have PAN. Yes. So we have here TAN. So first of all, TAN stands for what? TAN stands for tax deduction and collection account number. Okay. Now, TAN for tax deduction and the collection account number. Now, TAN, how many characters? TAN comprises, or I can say, TAN is 10 alpha numeric characters. So TAN stands for tax deduction and collection account number. TAN has 10 alpha-numeric characters. So we have got both alphabets as well as numerics. Now, how does TAN appear? And who holds the TAN basically? TAN is issued by the Income Tax Department to the company, or if you want to define it, also as an employer. Yes, so TAN is issued by the Income Tax Department to the company or the employer, the person who deducts TDS. Yes, yeah. So TAN is issued to them. And what is the format of TAN? In the sense, how does TAN appear? It is alpha, 5 numbers, and 1 alpha. 4 alpha, 5 numbers, and 1 alpha. So totally we have 10. Okay, so this is how the appears. Now, how does the pan appear? Can anyone tell me? If you remember your pan number, I mean, in the sense, if you are aware of it, otherwise it's fine. I will give you the format. How does your pan number appear? Is it the same format or is there a change between tan and pan? Is it 4 alpha, 5 numbers, 1 alpha only in pan? Pan is your permanent account number. Yes, or is it different from this? Different from the tan. So you can make out by the time I'll give the information. So here, tan of course is 4 alpha, 5 numbers, and 1 alpha. Now, this tan, as I told, is issued by the income tax department to the company or the employer. So we don't carry tan, we only carry PAN, permanent account number. The company or the entity or the person who has the position or authority to deduct the TDS from any income or from any amount payable, right, to the receiver, to the recipient, we can say, he will have the TAN. Okay. Now, when it comes to PAN, PAN stands for Permanent Account Number. Yes, all of you agree with this. Now, PAN is how? PAN has 10 alphanumeric characters. But what is the difference between TAN and PAN? PAN is issued, actually PAN is issued by the NSDL, National Securities Depositories Limited. If you have your PAN card, right, you just flip over, just see the back side. It will be there. If undelivered, please return to NSDL. Yes, it's issued by the state, of course, the income tax department, but it is the first. In between, of course, we have three. One we have the one we the person is individual. That's we who file the income tax returns, of course, to the IT department. But in between, we have an entity which takes care of all these tax-based issuance of PAN cards, that is NSDL, National Securities Depositories Limited. Okay, so I will give it as IT, but in the brackets also, I'll give it as NSDL. Okay, that is National Securities Depositories Limited. Now this is issued to whom? To employee. I can say individual. Employee, individual, taxpayer, however you want to define, you can define. Now, what is the format of PAN? Please have an observation when I repeat the same. Can you see? So what is that swap here? Now here in PAN always there are 5 alphabets, 4 numbers and 1 alphabet. You can check with your PAN number. It's 5 alpha, 4 numbers, alpha. If you check TAN, it is 4 alpha, 5 numbers, 1 alpha. So this is the difference between TAN and PAN. Okay? And of course, for your information, I think I've told you even when I started with GST, as of now, or from when the GST is being implemented in India, started in India, came into force, if a person, in the sense if a trader, if a dealer wants to apply registration under GST, okay, his registration would be granted on the basis of his PAN. With PAN, GST registration in India is PAN based. Yes, companies which are incorporated in India, yes, which are established in India, for them the registration under GST is PAN based. Comes to the other countries, like we have branches here, but we have incorporation in the foreign. For them, of course, they go for, like we have a concept of casual taxable persons or non-resident taxable. So in case if they come under that category, of course, permission would be granted to have their branches or outlets here, but that will be given on the basis of certain documents which are scrutinized, authenticated by certain proper officers or proper authorities, we say. Okay, if then of course they can start their establishments. But in case if the companies or the entities or establishments which are incorporated in India itself, for them the GST registration is always PAN based. Has to be kept in mind. Okay, so PAN is not only issued to the employer. This is difference I've given for TAN and PAN, but PAN is also issued to the companies. Okay, when it comes for the GST registration, they also have the PAN number. I think when I was explaining the GST in, that is goods and service tax identification number, and also I had also told you that how that big number comes. If you see in the front of any premises of any hotel, of any commercial complex, yes, they have 29 followed by a big list of numbers, alphabets. How is that generated? Also, to show you. 29 is a state code followed by 10 characters of PAN of the entity, and then the last three, of course, we have the verification of the rectification codes. Yes, this is how the GST in number is generated. Yes, so now coming back to this is difference between TAN and PAN. TAN is tax deduction and collection account number. TAN has 10 alphanumeric characters. TAN is issued by the IT department to the company or the employer, the person who deducts the TDS, the deductor, we can say. Okay, I will also add a word to this, deductor. Okay, and this is, of course, the deductee. Yes. And what is the format of TAN? 4 alpha, 5 numbers, 1 alpha. And what is the format of PAN? 5 alpha, 4 numbers, and 1 we have 1 alpha. So this is one of the important discussions which we have had TAN and PAN difference and the knowledge updation here. Got it? If you have any doubts, you can ask me regarding the TDS part. Please make sure, in case you have any doubts, you can also put up in the chat box also, or we can continue with the TDS discussion. So, how can we update the same in the Tally software? Yes, Mansa. Yes, Mansa has given a reply that, of course, we have 5 alphabets, 4 numbers, and again 1 alphabet. Yes, Mansa. You are right. So PAN we have 5 alpha, 4 numbers, and we have 1 alpha. TAN is ulta, 4 alpha, 5 numbers, and 1 alpha. Good. Now let's go for the tally. Yes. Now tally, let us pass one entry based on TDS. Shall we? We'll make a small discussion. Same. What all of us can do is we can update the TDS or the TAN details even in Tally software also. I think in the company features, if you press F11, please all of you press F11. If you press F11, here you have enable TDS, right, on the right hand side. It is no. So what you do is you activate it as yes. Can you see? If you press enter, you get the company's TDS deductor details. So we have TAN registration number, TAN number, deductor type, branch, division. Now how does this TAN registration number appear? If you want, I can show you a format so that you will also be evident of how this number is, or I can give you a sample of it. Probably here we have the it's fine. I would have this because I'm not having the appropriate one here. Yes, I will give you the TAN number, how it appears. TAN registration number format. What you can do is you can give as T220987776BAC. This is the way the TAN registration number. This is also being allotted to the employer or the deductor, the entity. So give TAN registration number as T220987776DAC. Now you can give the TAN number. So TAN number is not the same as TAN registration number. Both are different. So same, 4 alpha, 5 numbers, 1 alpha, 451. Press enter. Now suppose you're placed in a company where where your salary is subject to TDS, select company, or in case if the deductor is an individual, that can also be possible, or HUF, you can move for the individual. You can just select company here, select company, deductor branch. Branch means now when there is a TDS deduction, right? So which is the jurisdiction? Now we have Bangalore South, Bangalore North, or like this area wise also we have jurisdiction. Yes, for the income tax. So in brief, you can give it as Bengaluru or Bangalore South. Set or alter details of persons responsible, which means now if I take the company, in the company I have to give the information of the main person, okay, who is who takes the authority, who is responsible for the reduction of TDS. So if I give it as yes here, I have to give his details. Okay, it can be the CEO or the main employer, his name, his details have to be given here. Suppose it is, I'm giving here as Kiran Kumar, son of Chandrasekhar. Designation, probably it's a CEO. His PAN number. And you see here, flat number, name of the premises, road, street. This is all which this is not his personal residence, but it is the address of the entity, address of the company. Now this, how come it appeared here? How did it appear here? The only answer is we had created the company, right, for the tally, and we had given the address details when we are creating the company itself. The same address is also represented here. Got it? So this is again the address of the company. In your screen also it will appear the same way. So company details will appear. You have to only give us probably the STD 080. All details will appear. There's nothing to give except the person details of the person. So once you're done, you can press enter. Yes, so in case if any income tax exemption has to be ignored, probably it is not that much relevant, so we can give it as no. Yes, for the inventory based stock items, if TDS is applicable, we can go for it. Yes, for a few stock items, if TDS are it is subject to, we can give it as yes. As of now, we can just leave it as no. So we have activated the TDS part. So you can just press Ctrl A. Okay. So our TDS details are activated. Now what we can do is, from the gateway of Tally, we can go to the create option, and how we have the GST classification, like sales taxable, purchase taxable, and all that. We also have TDS nature of payments. So we can pass a TDS based entry, TDS nature of payment. So we can press enter there. Okay. If you press enter, now let's record the TDS rate for one of the TDS based entries. Now here we have, let's find out for rent of land and building. TDS on rent of land and building. Threshold limit, I can say. Can you see here? So on land and building, that time also we saw the income tax department list is 10% TDS. Okay, so 10% TDS is applicable, and of course the threshold limit is actually it is 1.8 lakh. Yes, it is 1.8 lakh, which we'll give up here. So name what you have to give it as rent on land and building. Okay, rent on land and building. Now, what is the section applicable for this? It is, can you see here? It is 194I. So you can give the section as 194I. Now, payment code and remittance code, of course, it is indicated in the challan itself, income tax challan. That code has to be given here. So as of now, you can just press enter, because we need to have the tax challans here. So you can just press enter on the same. Yes. Now this most of you would have observed it. With PAN it is 10%, without PAN it is 20% reduction. There is a double deduction without PAN. So what is the TDS rate applicable? We have seen it is 10%. Now what you all of you can do is, you can just press F12 configuration. If you press F12 configuration, the last feature we have, allow tax rate without PAN. Allow tax rate without PAN, if you activate it as yes, can you see? It will come instantly. Without PAN it is 20%. So I have to give only with PAN details. That's it. So what is the threshold limit? The threshold limit is 1,80,000. So up to 1,80,000 we don't have the TDS applicable on the rent to be paid on any building, commercial space I can say, 1,80,000. Okay, so we have created the TDS nature of payments. Once we create it, we can exit from this and we can go to the ledgers. So here I will give a small example in this text itself. Now TDS example. The company pays rent for the office space of an amount of rupees 2 lakh per month to Arihant agencies. Okay, so our company is paying rent for the office space which is given on rent of an amount of 2 lakh per month to Arihant agencies, subject to TDS at 10%. So this entry, how would we pass in the Tally software? Company is paying rent every month 2 lakh. Now it is crossing more than 1,80,000, right? So it is subject to 10% TDS. So this entry, how well we can record in Tally. Now here we have to create 3 ledgers. One is the expense ledger. So what is the expense involved here? It is rental charges. The second ledger we have to create is the party ledger to whom the rent has to be paid, that is Arihant agencies. Third is TDS on rental charges. Got it? So these 3 ledgers have to be prepared. So let's prepare these 3 ledgers. So first we go for the rental charges. So here only we have the ledger rental charges under indirect expenses. Yes, rent is what? It's an indirect expense. Type of ledger not applicable. Cost center not required. You can give it as no. GST you can rule out for this. Is GST applicable? You can give it as no. In case if it is applicable, we can also go for the same. As of now, we can give it as not applicable. So next is the field is TDS applicable. Please press the space bar. Yes, TDS is applicable. What nature of payment? Rent on land and building. That's it. Now after going for the expense ledger, we have the party ledger, that is Arihant agencies. So the party to whom the payment has to be made by the company. So it will be the nature of sundry creditor. So maintain balances bill by bill, yes. Come directly to the TDS. Is TDS deductible? Yes. Deductee type. Arihant agencies, we can take it as company resident. It is a company. So company resident. Deduct TDS the same voucher. Yes. Now you have to straight come here and give the PAN, because if PAN is not given, it goes for a double deduction of TDS. So compulsorily you have to give the PAN number of Arihant agencies, concerned person, I can say. Provide PAN details. Yes. So here you get name on the PAN, Arihant agencies. Registration type for GST can give it as unknown. It's not related to the income tax. Or if you leave it like that also, it's fine, not an issue. After that, you can accept the ledger. The last one we have TDS on rent. So under and taxes, one thing you have to keep it in mind, all statutory based ledger created in Tally software, it can be for TDS, TCS, GST or whatever it is, all will compulsorily come under the group of duties and taxes. Okay, so type of duty is TDS, rent on land and building. That's all. So accept the ledger. So we have created three ledgers to pass the TDS payment. Now what we'll do is we'll go to the vouchers and we'll go to the journal voucher. F7 is the journal voucher. In journal vouchers only we pass the TDS based entries. So first is debit the expense ledger. So what is the expense ledger we had done? Rental charges. So what is the total amount of rent which is given by me in the example? Total amount of rent is 2 lakh. So type 2 lakh over here, press enter. You get the credit, press enter. Now